Uh-oh. Ah, there we go. Stuttered there for a second. Alright, now let's go to Nekrium. This blood is... it's good. I'm not going to say that -6, -6, -12, -12, -18, -18 is bad. But it's not terribly great either. I mean, the fact that it has to have a creature already dead this turn means it's probably played post-combat, which makes it ineffective as a combat trick to be able to save a creature or prevent damage from getting through, which is often what you want removal for. Both this one and Blood Boil have that same problem. Yeah, it's chalk. You can't eat that. You don't. There are enough free removals that I can see this thing showing up in something like a Nephrax deck, where you get a creature killed with tendrils, and then this is much more effective. But I still think that's too much setup for it to be reliable. So I don't think this sees a lot of constructed play. I could be wrong because it does enable you to kill something before it would activate post-combat. But it's not strong enough to justify the drawback of the creature killed. Cavern Slime. This card will show up in Nekrium Mutera and not much else in draft. I don't see this being constructed playable. It's got a lot of regenerate, but that's not enough to get it to the next level. In draft, if you have ways to buff the health, which is Nekrium Mutera, he can be really nice. But because his health is so ridiculously low at every level, unless you can buff it quickly, it is just going to get destroyed by any sort of underdrop. The answer to an Ator deck, if Ator were ever to become a problem, this guy just basically says, yeah, let's do away with that whole Ator thing. He's got decent stats for utility creature. Your own creatures lose and can't get aggressive, but generally that won't be a problem. If there were... if a sideboard existed in this game, this would be a great sideboard card. Maybe you can, depending upon how the meta moves, if Ator starts to become a problem, this guy will show up in decks. Without that, he is not constructed playable. And he's got a decent enough body to take in draft, but not a great one. So he's a low draft pick. Maybe a 3-4 card pack pick when you've got nothing else to pick. Nether Decay. This is interesting. I've gone back and forth on this one. It's basically Rather Grimgott in reverse on steroids. But you put it on a creature, and that creature pretty much is guaranteed to eventually die. I actually really like this because it's kind of that non-level gated guaranteed removal. It's better than poison because it is going to work a whole heck of a lot faster. And if you've got a deck that is built on spamming creatures, let's say an NU Brood Queen style deck, where things are going to die, this will guarantee you to kill something. And it works under level because it scales very poorly as it levels. This could see constructed play. It'll have to be experimented with before I'm certain of that. But it seems like it fills a niche of guaranteed removal like Dendrify, only this has no level gating whatsoever. The key is it has no level gating whatsoever. Plunder Imp. This is another meta card. If you have a lot of things like Thundersoar, Dozer, yeah, Nether Decay looks like it would work very well at the higher ranks, because -5/-5, when you kill a creature, figure you have at least 2 creatures dying every turn. If you're giving something -10, -10 each turn, it's not going to live long. Plunder Imp is a pretty nice card if there are high-value targets for it to get. I wish this card had come out ages ago when Brood Queen was on top. Because if you can target key cards like Brood Queen, they don't get leveled. So you don't have to worry about them later on. Because Brood Queen is horrible if you don't level her. Unfortunately, it's Nekrium, so you're not getting away from the fact that everybody wants to play Nekrium. But this guy will definitely see some constructed play as long as there are 3 or less attack creatures that are existing in decks. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one, Pac-Man. I want to go back in time and have this when Brood Queen was at its height of popularity. Because this is the kind of answer I was looking for to Brood Queen. Because not only does that stop Brood Queen level 1, it stops all levels of Brood Queen because Brood Queen is so bad when she's under leveled. But that was not to be. Brood Queen is still a force in the meta, or at least it was as of 2 days ago. It also stops Herald on level, which is important because Herald Bomb is also an annoying deck that's out there. So, at least until meta stabilizes where the key creatures have more than 4 attack, this guy will see constructed play. And we'll see draft play, obviously. It's got decent enough stats, and you never know what you're going to hit draft. Here is the... No! We do not tear this up. This goes into the closet. It's okay. Whew. Sorry about that. My daughter got a hold of something that she should not have gotten a hold of and was carrying it up. I'm back. Come here. Oh, pause! It's okay. It's okay. I've got you. Alright. Shadeclaw Zombie. Well, to start off with, he is the Nekrium Darkforged, rare, which means his base ability is whenever another Darkforge comes into play, it gets ++. Same as every other rare Darkforge. And his extra is Regenerate. He at least has a decent enough health to make the regeneration worthwhile. I like this one better than the Aloyan one by quite a bit. I think its stats are better served for what it's trying to do. And it's also a zombie. Here you go. Because it's a zombie, it synergizes with every other zombie card in the game. And I could see this guy growing to be quite substantial. I don't think he sees much constructed play unless a Darkforged Nekrium deck shows up. I don't think a Darkforged Nekrium deck is going to show up unless it's a Wagyu life gain, which I hate you all. I skipped it. The Darkshard Witch is the worst of the 3 common Darkforges, or sorry, the worst of the 4 common Darkforges in my opinion. Its ability doesn't scale particularly well, but it does synergize with Wagyu, which means you could see a Darkforge Wagyu deck. With Darkforges, with Wagyu as a I instantly win condition, and Darkforges as a backup. I don't think it will be competitive though. It's also not a very good draft pick. Its stats are lackluster, and its ability doesn't mitigate that fact. Dark Art. Yeah, Dark Art Conjurer. Well, I guess that's true, Muppet. This guy is interesting. I'm not sure what I think about him yet. First of all, he makes your deck bigger. He's got a Soulbind. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he's Dark Heart Wanderer, except that he targets his regeneration instead of it hitting him. His stats are just slightly tweaked from Dark Heart Wanderers. Huh. Alright, Silhar. I will disagree with you. I think the best Dark Forge card is the Splicer, the Heroic Utera, particularly in draft, but we'll talk about that in a minute. He also is the first way that you could possibly have a deck with 3 colors in it, or 3 factions. If you're playing NT and you throw in this guy, you get the Dissonant Infusion, which means you have 3 factions. Dissonant Infusion is a very nice buff spell, but I don't know if it's nice enough to... fair enough, Silhar. I will take the... I'll see your statement, but I'll take the Loyan Common Dark Forge over the Nekrium Common Dark Forge every day of the week. Where are you going? Yeah, you open the door. Can you close the door? I don't think this is enough to justify increasing your deck size. It's a nice idea, but... hold on a second, Slythan. I'll get up. It does work well with itself. This is a nice draft pick because it's got a very nice buff with it. And nice buffs in drafts can also often mean you can run away with the game on the right creature. I don't think this guy sees any constructed play. His stats just aren't there, and making your deck bigger with a buff spell that is good, not great, I don't think it works out. Grimgaunt Betrayer. I don't really like this Dark Forge. I think this is the weakest of the heroic Dark Forges. Really? From my admittedly limited experience in draft, I've gotten better mileage out of the Aloyan Dark Forge than I have out of Matrix, or about equivalent to Matrix Warden. It's worked very well for me in draft. I obviously haven't experimented with constructed yet. Grimgaunt Betrayer, this guy, meh. I mean, it relies on your Dark Forges dying, and its stats are such that it doesn't generally stick around on the board, so it's okay. It's not great. It's not a great constructed card, and I don't think it's a great draft card because you don't get enough Dark Forges for this ability to reliably trigger. So, I'm not really impressed with that one. Zombie Dread Knight, I like quite a bit. I really want to go back to my old zombie unlegendary deck and slot this guy in. This guy and Zrath are such great pals. You can do some absolutely terrifying things with it. What have you brought me? You brought me a candle. It's not candy, it's a candle. I'll open it for you. See? Smell it. I don't think he's enough to make zombies viable again, but it's actually a step in the right direction. It looks pretty strong in a zombie deck, honestly. I have fallen behind. This might... Careful. That will break if you drop it hard enough. Alright. The only new set legendary I have, Ariadne, Spider Queen. Thank you. I'm not really sure what to think of her. She's one of the most complex cards in the game because her activated ability relies upon her spiderlings, which are hard removal-ish. You drop a spiderling, an odd-level creature gets replaced with a web, which is the same stats plus 1 health and defender. Yeah. And then Ariadne herself can eat the web to get bigger. Her ability is not level gated. The spiderling, for whatever reason, there are 3 levels of web based upon the spiderling's level, not the creature you're replacing's level. She's a cool concept and one of the fun cards and cards that definitely tell a story. I don't think that she's going to be... I don't think she's going to be super powerful. Xerxes the Executioner, on the other hand... Oh, this is... It depends upon how the meta settles. Because it is only effective against non-Nekrium creatures, if the meta settles in a Nekrium-heavy direction, this guy's terrible. If the meta settles in a direction that is Nekrium-light, which admittedly hasn't happened in forever, he can be very interesting and very useful. He's basically reusable epidemic. Something, you get one of the somethings, which is quite nice. But I don't think its ability is so you're not going to get free creatures frequently. But then again, you're trying to build a deck around him. You can put enough // in that you can. He's going to be tough to play with. And if you're playing a Nekrium deck, he's virtually worthless. His stats are not good enough to be a great constructed card. And of course, he's a legendary, so we won't talk about him in draft. He is good in draft, but you're not going to draft him very frequently, if ever. So that's Nekrium. Next up is Tempest. How you doing, Slaika?